Welcome back to Sous Vide Everything, guys. If there's one thing that looks impressive is a Wellington. I've already made beef Wellington. Today is a chicken Wellington experiment. You're gonna really enjoy this one. Check it out. I started off with 10 chicken thighs. As you can see, they are not boneless and the skin's still attached. The first thing we gotta remove is the skin. It's pretty straightforward. You don't even need a knife. It comes out just by hand. Just put it out just like this. Now there's a lot of different uses for this. You can even make crispy chicken sandwich with it. And if you ever want to see that video, just let me know in the comments down below. Then I jump right into the bone. You don't have to be as careful here. You actually want a little bit of meat on the bone because we're going to be making an amazing gravy. The only thing you got to really be careful is not to cut yourself. But besides that, it's pretty straightforward. Just use the bone line and cut off with your knife. As you can see, I still have quite a bit of meat left. And that's exactly what you're looking for. We want our gravy to taste good. And I'll be showing you that next. But once I was done, we got our boneless chicken thighs. As you can see, we still have a little bit of fat and we have our bones. They are not fully trimmed. The meat that is left behind is going to give you a wonderful flavor, so keep that on. In order to have a tasty chicken, it must be marinated. Remember, exact amount and ingredients always on the description down below. I started off with olive oil, followed by balsamic vinegar, soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce, lemon juice, brown sugar, chopped rosemary, Dijon mustard, salt, freshly ground black pepper, and garlic powder. Now all there's left to do is mix it well and your marinade is done. This marinade smells so good that you might want to drink it just as is, but don't. To marinate our chicken, it is very important to coat them before laying all of them down in the bowl. That way you will ensure that every piece of the chicken is coated with the marinade. Don't just dump them all in. This method is the best way to do it. By the time I was done, you can be sure that every single one is completely coated with the marinade. Now you want to let it marinate for at least 4 hours, or better yet, overnight. Once the time was up, quickly set up some plastic film, remove the excess marinade and lay the chicken thighs right on top. Try to place them as even as possible. That way we can roll it into a nice cylinder. If there's too much extra marinade, you can always use a paper towel to remove it. The next step is to roll it up as tight as possible. You want a nice tight cylinder. Pinch both ends and just keep on rolling. Once I was done, this is what it looks like. The next thing to do is to bag it up and get it ready for the water bath. And remember, we are doing an experiment, so I am doing 2 of them. I'll be cooking both of them in the same container at 167 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 hours. As they were being cooked, I'm going to show you how to make an amazing gravy. This one is so good that I drank a whole mug of it. And here's how to make it. In a cast iron casserole, throw in your bones, together with carrots, celery, and onions. Adding the vegetable will make an amazing stock, so don't skip that part. Throw it in the oven at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Your goal is to have a nice brownie on everything. The darker it gets, the deeper color your broth will have. So keep that in mind. After about 40 minutes, I pulled that out of the oven. Then I threw in all the juices that I've been collecting throughout my sous vide cooks. That is why you save all the juices. This will make an incredible broth. The next thing to do is to make sure you scrape the bottom. Don't let any of that fond on the bottom go to waste. Make sure everything comes off. Then you want to let it reduce to half. Once that's done, go ahead and strain it and your broth is done. I'm telling you right now, this is the best chicken broth you ever have. It's extremely concentrated, but the flavor is nice and smooth. Now for our gravy. I started off with a little bit of butter. Make sure you let it melt and don't let it brown. Throw in all-purpose flour and let it cook. Keep it under medium heat and let it cook all the way through. You want to give it at least 15 minutes. Pay attention to the smell. If it smells like freshly baked pie dough, it's ready. If you don't let it cook, it will have an off flavor, so make sure you don't let that happen. But once it was completely cooked, you can see that it browned up a little bit, and it's exactly what you're looking for. Then you want to throw in your chicken stock. Just by the color of the stock, you know already that thing is amazing. Then you want to mix everything well. Keep it at a medium-high heat to bring it to a nice simmer. As you're doing that, the gravy will thicken up. Just make sure you keep stirring. As you can see right here, it's looking fantastic. The next thing to do is to season it. So after adding salt, I threw in a little bit of white pepper. To finish it off, I added heavy cream, mix it well, and my gravy was done. The juices from the bag together with the bones being roasted and the vegetables just makes an incredible broth. And by far, this has been the best gravy I've ever made. The next thing to do to add even more flavor to our Wellington is to cook up some bacon and onions. And remember, whenever you're cooking bacon, the best thing to do is to start with a cold pan. This allows the bacon to slowly melt, which is perfect and exactly what you're looking for. You don't want it too crispy. Just cook it until it's nicely golden brown and tender. Once it's fully cooked, you want to strain it. You're going to be needing that bacon fat because we're going to be using it on the next step. In the same pan that you cook that bacon with, go ahead and throw in your onions. Make sure they're finely chopped. You don't want big pieces. Then add in about 2 tablespoons of bacon fat. We want these onions to fry up on that fat, making it taste awesome. Don't let them caramelize too much. You still want them to have a nice color and not too dark. Make sure you mix it well and cook until they are completely translucent. Then to finish it off, throw your bacon back in, mix everything well, and your bacon mix is done. I mean, there's not much to be said. You already know what this tastes like. Caramelized onions, bacon, and bacon fat. Come on, this already tastes amazing. But to make it taste it even better, we're gonna make a green mix. And here's how to do it. Into the food processor, throw in a bunch of spinach together with mozzarella cheese. Blend it on high and chop everything fine. Make sure everything is chopped. Once that's done, your green mix is done. Even if you don't like any green stuff like my nephew Angel, do it. It makes the chicken Wellington taste amazing. I got my chickens ready. It was cooked at 167 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 hours. That is the perfect time for chicken thighs. Chicken breast, on the other hand, you gotta cook at a little bit lower temperature. But chicken thighs can handle a higher temperature and it's nice and juicy. But I'm excited to find out how it's gonna taste. Now I gotta take it out apart and put it together. Let's do it. After removing it from the bag, you can clearly see that it's coming apart. That's not what we want. So I decided to use some butcher's twine and tie it up. Once I was done, this is what it looks like. Then we want to put it in a baking rack so we can get a wonderful color. But before doing so, I basted it with bacon fat. Yes, my friends, we are looking for a lot of flavor on this chicken, and bacon fat will make sure we get there. Don't be shy, make sure you get all edges. Once that was done, I threw it into the oven at 450 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes. That gave me a nice char that I was looking for. Now it was time for the assembly, and I started with clinch plastic, followed by Parma ham. Then I added my bacon and onion mix, followed by my green mix. And to my surprise, after the sear was done, it was holding together perfectly. So I removed the butcher's twine, and it was staying together, as you can see. Now all there's left to do is to roll it up into itself and make a nice, wonderful, tight shape. And when you're doing this, make sure it's tight. And remember, I have 2 of them. One of them we're going to be making a keto version, and the second one we're going to be using puff pastry. And it's pretty straightforward. Here's how to do it. Just lay out the puff pastry on a clinch plastic, add your chicken Wellington, and roll it real tight. If you feel like there's a lot of extra puff pastry, just make sure you cut it all out. Once you're done, squeeze the edges, roll it into itself tightly, and your chicken Wellington is ready. To make sure everything is nice and tight, it's a good practice to let it rest in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes. All right, everybody, I got my beautiful chicken Wellingtons ready. The keto one, the only thing left to do is to, put a nice egg wash and almond flour on top and deep fry it. I'm gonna be deep frying it at 350 degrees Fahrenheit until I have a nice, beautiful color. The other one, on the other hand, with the puff pastry, is pretty much ready to go. It just needs a little bit of egg wash. But I'm gonna go the extra mile and put a decoration puff pastry on top. It's really unnecessary. If you don't want to do it, it's just to make it pretty. But I know they don't look that good right now. But watch this. For the keto version, I'm going to be deep frying it and using almond flour. And it needs to be seasoned. So I started with a little bit of salt, black pepper, garlic powder, and smoked paprika. Mix everything well and your seasoned flour is ready. All right, everybody, we have our beautiful Wellingtons over here. What do you think, Mama?
Oh, the Wellington looks beautiful, but what is this?
That's a Wellington, Mama.
That's like a beef empanizado or something.
Beef empanizado is basically, how do you even translate that?
It's just a breaded,
Mama. There was a lot of work in that. That's a beef Wellington, okay? We're gonna call it a Wellington, not a beef Wellington. Sorry, a Wellington, yeah?
Okay.
What it is keto. right? So we have one
okay.
here that is not keto at all, like far away from keto.
Pastry is very keto.
And then we have one here that is keto. With all that being said, excited to try. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, let's cut it open, everybody. Let's do it. All right, Mama, what do you think?
Now I understand why you're calling it a Wellington.
It is a Wellington. I told you, that's a lot of work. Well, it's not a lot of work. It's just, you know, a little...
Did you use meat glue to keep this thing together?
No meat glue.
It looks like glued together. It doesn't fall off or
I'm
anything.
proud of that. No meat glue necessary, Mama. There's absolutely meat glue all natural, my friend, with a lot of butcher's twine.
Like, I'm fighting to take a piece out of it here.
You glue it together nicely. That's why I like to first cook it sous vide and then tie it. You already tried it, Mama. How is it?
I tried a little piece of the chicken. It's moist.
Yeah.
It's flavorful.
So you destroy it by digging it inside?
No, I just pulled one.
You know what's interesting? Look, it's tight and I can't even take it out. Look at that. So yeah, it held together very, very nicely. You said that the chicken is good already. So let's try this all by
the
itself.
whole thing?
Yeah.
All right.
Cheers, everybody. Oh, that's good.
That's really good.
That's very flavorful.
Wow.
First of all, the chicken has a very wonderful flavor because it was marinated. So it's like full of flavor. And obviously because it's chicken thigh, everybody, it's very, very moist. It's not chicken breast.
It's a lot more flavorful than the chicken.
Much more
Yep.
flavorful. And then there's some bacon there with caramelized onions that you can't even tell because it's all combined together. And the almond crust, really, really nice. Now I want to try with the gravy. You ready for the gravy, Mama? A little bit of gravy for you. Just a little bit. Oh, you went for it. How's the gravy?
Oh,
I want to know.
Wow.
The gravy is not keto, but
Oh, that.
don't be keto. Just for a little bit on the gravy because it has a little bit of flour. And flour is not keto. But it's very little though. It's very little.
Gonna try to describe the layers of the flavor here. Cause
Go for it, Mama.
first thing you're gonna notice is the chicken because the chicken is really in there.
It's so flavorful.
And then around the flavor of the chicken, you got a little bit of the hint of the bacon and a little bit of the hint of the cheese with the spinach.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you got that layer of Parma. A
Yeah.
little bit salty.
Yeah, it's a little
you-
salty. Yeah.
Just a little salt kick in your mouth. And to finish it all off, you have a little bit of the crumbliness. From
Exactly. The
almond
Parma hen is a
flour.
little bit salty. And when you put the gravy is just so nice and smooth. Oh! I'm good with just the keto version, to be honest with you. But now I want to try the other one. Because I'm pretty sure the other one's going to be even better. Come on, it's puff pastry, everybody. Held together like a champ. Look at that. He held together like a champ. Come on, man. Real chicken beef Wellington, everybody. Cheers. Oh, that's so much better. That is so delicious. Oh, wow.
On a completely different
It's
realm.
like, okay,
It's good.
this one is kind of rough, right?
Yeah.
Because the edges is very, very crispy. This one is kind of crispy as well, but it's also soft. So it's like crispy and soft. And the flavor of the puff pastry is amazing, everybody. I'm telling you, it's amazing.
On the tail end of the keto one, you have the salt that comes in and just finishes it off.
Yeah, very salty.
Very salty. And then on this one, you get the same salt, but then you think that it's almost over, and then you realize that there's the flavor to the pastry on it.
I know, right?
And the pastry is it's crunchy and soft at the same time, so you know it's good pastry.
It is amazing, right? Making me cry, Omar. That's how good it is. I can't believe I'm saying that. Chicken Wellington is absolutely incredible, everybody. Make sure you marinate it, does all the steps, and it's going to turn out perfect. And if you are in the keto diet, do the keto diet one as well. If you ask me which one is better, which one's better, Omar?
I hate to say it, but
The real one is a lot better, everybody. The chicken Wellington keto style is also wonderful. I recommend both of them. You agree?
yes.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do enjoy this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, be sure to subscribe for future videos. Remember, if you are interested in anything I use, everything is always in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
regular beef Wellington with tenderloin, it's good.
It's amazing.
It's good.
It's good?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one you did with the eye around, that was better. That was better. I like the eye around better because.
And the chicken?
The chicken's on top of those.
No way, Mama. I like it because it's cheaper. So we only do chicken Wellington from now on.
I even like it even more now.